Hello, and welcome to week 3 of the PGL season 16. I'm Zand, and if you want to just see the battle, you can skip straight there. I'm going to throw timestamps into the description. This week we are playing Cram and the St. Louis Battle Haluchas, I believe is the name of the team. Another PGL veteran we've played a few times now. He's probably beaten me more than I've beaten him. He's a very good battler. Yeah, and he's got a super scary team to match it. We actually made a trade with him pre-week 1 because I really wanted Gouging Fire this season. Um, and he grabbed it before me, and I didn't make a stink about it, but I did comment about how he did snipe me immediately. And he messaged me saying that he changed plans and wanted to run Chi Yu, so we grabbed it for him and traded like post-draft. I don't know if that was a pity play to give me Gouging Fire or if he really did change plans. I kind of hope that I didn't whine enough to make him want to trade. But regardless, now we have the Gouging Fire and he has the Chi Yu, and now we have to battle the Chi Yu. So I think we might be the real loser here. If you don't mind, if you haven't liked the video or subscribed, I am trying to get things moving a little more in the monetized direction. So I do have some other videos planned coming up soon. I know I've said that a few times and have yet to upload more than just standard draft league content, but I do want to get it going soon. But anyway, we have a battle. Like, it's already past time to battle, so I'm going to get through this team builder super fast. Looking at my opponent's team this week, Chi Yu, obviously huge special attacking threat. Very easy for it to clean late game. And obviously, last week we used Sunny Day to our advantage, and Sun on my team looks decent this week. Like, I could run like Sunny Day Thunderous and run some things like the Protosynthesis Gouging Fire. But if I give Chi Yu Sun, I literally have no switch-ins for it. Like, you all know the calc, the Chi Yu overheat, that one-shots Tox effects or whatever the calc is. Like, it's just ridiculous. I, in no circumstance, can set Sun for the Chi Yu this week. He also has the Slither Wing. It takes advantage of the same ability as Gouging Fire. We do have this in our other draft. It's just a super strong physical attacker, but from what I've experienced using it, it's a little bit one-dimensional. Not to say that's a bad thing, because it's really good at what it does. It does huge damage. It's kind of like buffed Heracross. Like, it doesn't have guts, but its attack stat is just through the roof. It gets first impression. It gets a little bit of coverage, but nothing kind of crazy. If it does show up, I do kind of anticipate a Scarf set, if not a Banded set, just to do a lot of immediate damage. He's got the Iron Treads. I think he might run the lead Treads. I think it definitely shows up, because without Treads, Choice Specs Thunderous with Volt Switch just runs through his entire team. Like, Regenerator or not, if I get Rocks up and ran Specs Thunderous, it would go crazy as soon as Iron Treads went down. So I do anticipate Treads showing up. I don't know if it'll be like a defensive Stealth Rock Rapid Spin set, or if it'll be something more offensive with Booster Energy, but I do think it's coming in some regard. Maybe even Assault Vest. I think that's a totally viable bring. He's got the Reuniclus. This thing's actually giving me a lot of problems. I haven't had to think about Reuniclus in a minute, because I don't play a lot of Nat decks, and there's so many Psychic types that you really don't hear that much about Reuniclus. But it's so bulky. Like, I was running calcs, and just max HP is eating hits. Like, things like Halucha just struggle so hard to break through it, especially when it's Regenerator and it can just heal back up. And the thing is, it doesn't even have to run Regenerator. It also gets Magic Guard, so it can just ignore things like Toxic Spikes, Toxic in general, and just set up around status and not have to care because of Magic Guard. Also, it doesn't have to worry about hazards, so we do want to try to suss that out early if we can, so I'm going to try to get hazards up early. He has the Amoonguss, so he has a total of 3 Regenerator Pokemon, which really impacted my drafting decisions. I would really wanted to run like a really offensive build this week, but because of all his Regenerator, if I just ran pure offense, I would burn myself out way too fast if I wasn't able to break that regen core. Moongus obviously super annoying with Spore. Clear Smogs to block setup on itself, and then it can run things like Giga Drain, Foul Play, other coverage. Its move pool's fairly shallow, so I kind of know everything it could do, but that doesn't mean it's not super annoying for my team. Diancie was kind of the hard counter to things like Gouging Fire this week. Gouging Fire does get Iron Hit, but it doesn't even KO like defensive Diancie. It's crazy how bulky that thing is. It +1. So yeah, a tough matchup for Gouging Fire this week, honestly. Like, it kind of looks like it runs through his team, but I don't know. It burns itself out so quickly, and I can't run like Heat Crash because he does have some heavy Pokemon like Iron Treads. So I would have to run Flare Blitz. So yeah, Gouging Fire may or may not be making an appearance this week. He's got the Cyclozar. Similar situation to last week with Cyclozar and Inteleon. He's got two Pokemon that barely outspeed Hawlucha, which is my fastest mon. And obviously, Hawlucha is usually not pivoting in and out that much, and especially on my team with Terrain, it's kind of like a come in at the end or in the middle and break once and then go down. So I do anticipate either Cyclozar or Inteleon coming, and probably being like choice specs. Like honestly, Cyclozar could just run a supportive AV set with something like Power Whip, Draco, Knockoff, U-Turn, Rapid Spin, some of those moves. Another shallow move pool, but it gets a ton of good support moves. Also gets like Taunt if it wants to not run AV. So it is kind of trouble for my team. Its coverage is just good enough to kind of threaten a lot of my Pokemon. It gets things like Iron Hit for Sylveon. Draco's generally good coverage, but it's not super strong, so I have a few things to bring against it. So I don't fully anticipate Cyclozar. I don't think he really needs it this week. And then we've got his 3 Terra Captains, so we can look at their Terra types here. I think the most likely one to come versus me is the Inteleon. Terra Water Hydro Pumps do crazy damage to my entire team. The only things that I really have that can deal with that are Swampert and Sylveon. But then he can just run Terra Grass, and suddenly Swampert is not a check. Max Spadef AV Swampert goes down to a Specs Terra Blast from Grass. So that makes it kind of difficult for us to lead Swampert. That was my original plan. But if he just leads Inteleon, does what Nono did last week, and just smacks me with a Choice Specs Pokemon right out of the get, then I'm in huge trouble. I just lose a Pokemon turn 1 again, which usually does not turn out very well for me. And the thing is, he also has Dark as a potential Terra. While I don't anticipate this coming because it does overlap pretty significantly with Chi-Yu, it's really annoying because otherwise support Thundurus being able to paralyze this would be huge, but just the potential of him turning into a Dark type and being immune to Prankster is so annoying. Like, his team feels really well constructed, honestly. He's got the Electros. Terra Steel with Levitate is really annoying for my Terrapagos this week because I am running just normal and ground coverage. So if this exact set, the Steel Terra Electros with Coil shows up, we can't use Terrapagos to beat it. It definitely sets up 1v1. So we will either have to change up a move on Terrapagos or we'll have to like bring in other Pokemon on it. It does take a while to get going though, which is kind of an advantage for us. It could also run AV. I know the Coil set tends to be more popular nowadays, I believe, but AV is still super solid with all the coverage this guy gets. And then finally, he's got the Scyther. I think he's been favoring it this season, and for good reason, honestly. Terra Flying Technician dual wing beats do ridiculous damage to everything. The calcs look horrendous versus me. But it also gets the Terra Fighting, so that close combats get stab, and then it like kind of flips its weaknesses. And then it also gets Terra Normal, which is for quick attack, and just to also get rid of all those weaknesses, make it only weak to fighting, which, why would you click a fighting move on a Scyther? So, really solid 3 Terramons. Any 3 of these could realistically show up. I think Inteleon's the easiest to bring versus me, because obviously I don't have great answers to a lead Spexmon. But otherwise, I think any of these 3 could definitely show up, even multiple. I think at least for one of his games, he brought both Inteleon and Scyther, so definitely giving himself some flexibility. As far as things I don't anticipate, I think everything here looks pretty good against me, to be honest. I think Cyclozar is kind of one that stands out to me as not as good, and Electros maybe not as good, but these other 8, I think it could be any of those. So yeah, that's the matchup. Let's look at what I'm bringing. All right, so here's the team I'm bringing this week. Honestly, last minute Hail Mary play, this Terrapagos was originally Gouging Fire. It was Dragon Dance with coverage to hit most of his team. I just think it overlaps a lot with Hawlucha, and if we don't secure KOs with one of them, then it's a waste. So we might as well put all our eggs in one basket and hopefully send it with Hawlucha. We are actually bringing DD Lucha this week, so that's nice to see. DD really only needs 2 moves, Expanding Force and Terra Blast Fighting. Terra Blast Fighting is great because most of his switch-ins to an Expanding Force are weak to fighting, mainly the Treads and the Chi-Yu. So I think clicking that, maybe getting a surprise hit on one of those early, is really good for us. Unfortunate part of this Indeedee set is it is entirely walled by Reuniclus, and it doesn't even have to be AV. So if Reuniclus shows up, there's a real chance we can just trick it and give it a Scarf once it kind of finds out our set. Even if we're Terra Psychic Expanding Force, we're doing nothing to Reuniclus. Like maybe 40% if he's offensive and for whatever reason has speed. But regardless, we're never breaking that thing. So we might as well just give it our scarf because a lot of his team has kind of two speed modes. He's got really fast, way faster than Ndidi, all the way down to like base 100. Then he's got Slither Wing at 81, and then a bunch of Pokemon at 50 or lower. So Ndidi really didn't need that much speed this week, just enough for some variants of Slither Wing. So we have some bulk that helps us live like H-Red's Earthquake from full if we really had to. So if he's like Sash or Choppel, then we can deal with that. And I do anticipate a lot of resist berries like Koba Amoonguss or Choppel Treads or even Choppel Chiyu. I think is definitely an option. We got the Healing Wish just because that grants us guaranteed switch in to something full heal it because like I said, against that Regenerator core, he's constantly going to be healing back up. And if we don't heal ourselves, then we're just going to get whittled down over time, like no matter what. Obviously, the best counter part to the Ndidi is the Hawlucha. I almost ran like a close combat White Herb set so that I didn't have to bring Ndidi, but I think Ndidi is actually pretty solid into this matchup. Especially if we can knock out a couple of his Pokemon, open up either a fighting or psychic weakness, then I think we're in good shape. Hawlucha is very standard this week. Only need a little bit of speed to outrun like, I think it's like Booster Treads is what I'm trying to outrun here. Or maybe even Scarfed Inteleon. I don't remember exactly, but it's built to outrun something at +1. Maybe even Cyclozar. We've got the Acrobatics, the Close Combat. It's just super solid coverage into his team. Sword Stance, because there's no way we're breaking through Reuniclus otherwise. But luckily with this health, we should always live one hit from Reuniclus, so we can even get to +4 on it. If he tries to stall us out, do any kind of shenanigans with his other Pokemon, like healing or taunting, anything like that, we can Encore them as well. And also if we Healing Wish with Ndidi on one of their support moves, bring in Hawlucha, maybe on Reuniclus, going for a recover. It thinks, oh, I can just hit him with the Psychic, he can't get set up and beat me. We Encore the Reuniclus and suddenly we win that 1v1 and we get a free Sword Stance out of it. So I think Encore could be super clutch. We really just didn't need coverage, so I thought Encore was pretty cool. We've got the AV Swampert, very standard max health, max Spadef. Nothing special about this Swampert. It's here to help us with Chiyu. It always takes 2. Even like modest specs Dark Pulses we're not getting KO'd by. Luckily it doesn't get grass coverage, so we're in good shape there. I do anticipate things like Scyther to run Trailblaze if it shows up, so the Swampert eats most hits. Like I said in the beginning, it's just the Inteleon with Terra Grass, Terra Blast that blows us back. We've got Earthquake Flip Turn, always good coverage, knockoff, amazing move into him, getting rid of an item. It could be clutch on one of those Regenerator Mons. And then we've got Endeavor. I was just looking at the calcs and there's a lot of scenarios where Swampert ends up on low health. And if I don't think there's a realistic chance that we can wish and heal it back up, like I said, he's got a bunch of Pokemon at base 50 speed or below. So if we can Endeavor Diancie coming in at full health, knock it down to 10%, then it knocks us out, we're in great shape because Diancie can't heal itself and it's pretty annoying for our team. We got Overquill. Overquill this week is our dedicated Amoonguss check. We do not have like a grass type that wants to come this week. Go-Go does not want to show up, and Go-Go kind of loses to Amoonguss anyway with Clear Smog, and it being our only Spore switch in, it's not great. I don't want to sleep one of my Pokemon for the entire game. So we're running the Safety Goggles Overquill to help us 1v1 Amoonguss. If Amoonguss doesn't show up, this Overquill loses a ton of value. Like, that's just being honest. Intimidate is still useful into a lot of his Pokemon, but I think the main reason to bring this is just Liquidation Crunch is huge coverage into his team. A lot of the things that want to switch in on Overquill don't want to take a Liquidation, so it's nice to have. Spikes is there because we do want to wear things down. We did have Stealth Rocks on Terrapagos, but I did end up switching that out for Calm Mind, and I may switch to Roar back to Stealth Rocks or other coverage. I'm not sure yet. It's kind of a buzzer beater moveset change. But I think spikes are important because they nerf Regenerator essentially. 3 layers of spikes means he only gets 8% for every time he regens, and then something else has to take damage. So I think that's pretty huge. And then Haze, he has a lot of Pokemon that like to set up, like Diancie with like Diamond Storm or Iron Defense Body Press. He's got the Calm Mind Reuniclus. And Haze just doesn't let Overquill be setup fodder for Pokemon like that. Although, obviously, Reuniclus can't really set up on us. If it's super set up already, and we don't have a great way to break it, we can always just come in, haze it, and sacrifice the Overquill. We've got our Terrapagos. This was Gouging Fire until last minute, but I don't have a good lead. Like, if you look at my team, if we switch this Terrapagos for Gouging Fire, something dies, like if I lead wrong turn 1, and that's not something I want to happen against. So Terrapagos is the best way to guarantee that he does not get a knockout turn 1. Like, nothing KOs this at full because of its ability. And because of that, we don't really have to run any bulk because it's mainly a lead. Beats the Iron Treads at 1v1. We can rapid spin up to outspeed it. Earth Power does deal more damage than Scorching Sands, but I think the ability to burn something like Slitherwing coming in could be absolutely massive for us. And it is this Scald Burn chance, so getting a burn on something could really turn in the tables. I think Rapid Spin and Terra Starstorm are just super solid. He doesn't have a Ghost type, doesn't have a Terra Ghost, so Terra Starstorm is very spammable. And then that last move, I'm not sure. Calm Mind makes this a late game win condition, but Roar obviously helps us stop things from trying to set up on Terrapagos. We could always run Rest if we really wanted. Stealth Rock is nice, and then other coverage could be solid, so I'm not sure. We'll see when the battle comes around. And then finally we have Sylveon. Just a generic, keep our other Pokemon alive. Hopefully we don't take a massive hit like we did week 1 and get this thing super weakened super early. Hyper Voice is just fairly clickable into his team, and then Wish Protect is, you know, fairly straightforward to keep our Assault Vestmon alive, to keep our Overcool alive, to keep Terrapagos alive. Just very solid. Can even let us get in DDN, be kind of greedy with it early on. And then we've got Yawn, just kind of set up prevention again, because he has some Calm Mind potential. So just stopping him from Calm Minding with all of our Pokemon is super important. So yeah, that's the team we're bringing. Maybe I'll regret not bringing Gouging Fire, but we'll see. We'll get straight into the battle. Alright, and we are back. And it looks like he brought the Inteleon and the Eel and no Amoonguss. So Overquill loses a lot of value here. I do kind of wish I'd brought Gouging Fire instead. But, you know, we can't predict everything. I think he had a lot of good brings into me, and Amoonguss would have been super annoying. Wait. Oh, wait, no, he has one Regenerator Mon. I was like, did he not bring the entire Regen Core? We can look at our prep doc real quick. And we can remove... I did not bring Gouging Fire this week, or Thundurus. Did not bring my 2 most expensive Pokemon. And no Magneton, no Go-Go. He did not bring Scyther, Cyclozar, Amoonguss, or Slitherwing. So, we look at his team real quick. Dang, he is really weak to ground. Other than the Electros, he's pretty weak to fighting, which is pretty good for us. He did not bring a single flying weak Pokemon, which is pretty smart. Pretty weak to grass, which doesn't matter, and weak to water, so Swampert's looking pretty good. Yeah, so our dedicated lead is the Terrapagos into whatever he wants to do. He leads the Electros. It could definitely be AV Pivot, but it could definitely also be Coil. I think just smacking it with a Starstorm early on would be nice. Let me get a damage calc up on my other screen real quick. Also, this seems a bit blurry, so apologies. I know Showdown's already kind of not great quality compared to Cart. So if we just look at our... Oops, Terrapagos is not in the calc. I'm just going to go for a Terra Starstorm. We do 63% immediately, and he U-turns, breaks our shell. Crits us, which doesn't matter because we wouldn't have gotten Terra Shell back from leftovers anyway. And yeah, that's huge damage into him. So let me quickly move this Terrapagos set into Showdown. So he brings in the Reuniclus, Terra Starstorm into Electros. It's definitely not AV. It's not even really Spadef, actually. That's kind of crazy damage, honestly. Electros is usually pretty, especially bulky. So that's like max attack, maybe? Max health? Even max health shouldn't have taken 63. Or yeah, I guess high roll. So probably max health, max attack. I could calc that U-turn, but I'm not too concerned. I did switch to Roar last minute, so if this is Calm Mind, we can force it out. If we look at it in the calc real quick, Focus Blast, if we're not at 100%, is doing half. He does have to land 2, though. So I will just go for another Terra Starstorm. Does 54%. He does land a focus blast. Does 86%. Wow, that is a lot of damage. Let me look. If he's max special attack, that's not enough. Or he has to be max special attack modest to do that much. So yeah, that's maybe max special attack, max HP, AV, I would imagine. Otherwise, it could be like heavy duty boots plus regen to throw me off. I don't think it's a boosting item unless it's like life orb and less special attack investment. So I can just go for another Starstorm here. Treads does come in, which is fine. We do a huge amount to it as well. Terra Starstorm. So it does have some bulk. Definitely knocks us out from 21%, of course. We could have went for a Scorching Sands there, actually, and tried to catch him coming in. But I don't know if it was worth it. He probably goes for Earthquake here. I don't have great Earthquake switch-ins. But honestly, this Terrapagos has done amazing work for us. I don't know if the Reuniclus is Regenerator. It probably is, based on the way he played it right there, switching it in and back out. We could save this if we wanted to try to get a wish on it later, but nothing really wants to take an Earthquake. I guess Swampert could come in, though. Yeah, Swampert can take 2, so I think it's okay to bring that in here. Does go for the knock. Gets rid of our AV, so we're way worse into Chi Yu now. Obviously, I could go for the Earthquake. It might knock this out. If he has quite a bit of HP investment, it probably doesn't, but I can just go for Flip Turn. It's guaranteed pivot. He doesn't have an immunity. Can't knock us out with Earthquake. Even max attack, like Adamant, is, you know, barely doing over half. Oh, and that's with Booster. So without Booster, yeah, he's not really doing over 50% to us with anything. So we led with the offensive normal type this week, which I think is pretty huge. The way this battle is going, it looks like it will be pretty quick, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so Terrapagos getting to show off a little bit, and we are showing we're not gouging Fire Crutch. Eel comes in, Flip Turn does 19% to it. So we kind of are spoiled for choice with what we want to bring in here. Obviously, gouging who? Obviously, Terrapagos can come in and we can get 2 turns of leftovers on it, which is nice. I don't think a Rapid Spin KOs. If Flip Turn did 18 to an Electros. So it's physically defensive because this is saying Flip Turn should have done 22-ish. So yeah, it looks like it's max Fizz Def Electros, which is kind of weird. But honestly, a good set. Terrapagos. Strange. Terrapagos probably can come in here. Definitely can't knock it out with Rapid Spin, but we can just go for the whatever it's called, Terra Starstorm. If he wants to bring Treads back in, that's fine with me because it's getting weakened. I'd love to click Rapid Spin here, but I don't think it's worth it because if we don't knock this out and get knocked out in return, we're in bad shape. So we do get a KO. Leftovers gets us back to 33%, which is not bad, and Inteleon comes in. Yeah, this is a problem for us. So my best switch into this lost its AV, which is not great. If we look at Sylveon, oops, wrong side of the calc. Sylveon v Sylveon. If we look at Sylveon v Inteleon, Hydro Pump, even without Terra Water, could 2-hit KO us. So it's really not worth getting Sylveon chipped down. Is it worth giving up my Terrapagos? Because this guy does go pretty hard into... I think we have good answers otherwise for his Pokemon. I don't really want to let things go down. So I would have saved this if I could. But I think getting out his Terra type early is going to be better for us. So I think I can just click Terra Starstorm here. He has Terra Water, Scalds. Okay. So shows Scalds. If he's Terra Water, that probably doesn't KO Sylveon, but our Hyper Voice is definitely not KOing him either. If we look at Indeedee, Obviously, Scald's knocking us out if he's Specs, but if he's Choice Scarf, um, we actually are EV to always live a Hydro Pump from full, which obviously if he's Scarfed, he can't go for that. So I do think I can get Indeedee in here for pretty much for free. Now the problem with this is Chi-Yu could definitely come in. So this is kind of a pivotal turn for us where we can click either Expanding Force, Terra Blast, or Trick. If we Trick and give this a Scarf, take its Specs, then we look really good into Indeedee and Reuniclus, but we look way worse into Treads and Chi-Yu. If I Terra Blast Fighting, I don't knock him out, but he never knocks me out here. So I think I can go for that. We can see if Reuniclus is his pivot. Man, that Trick is very tempting. We could also double, which is definitely a decent play if we wanted to get Sylveon in, because I do think Reuniclus is pretty obvious here. I don't think he wants to give up Inteleon. If we get rid of our Scarf, though, we're just so much worse into Treads and Chi-Yu. I think I will double into Sylveon. So we do switch first. He switches Treads. Okay, so I should have went for the Terra Fighting Terra Blast, which is fine. So he's shown only Knock so far, and that Knock did like 25% to Swampert. So we can quickly look at kind of how strong he is. Oops, I keep bringing up the lead set for Iron Treads, which is just not helpful. So Knock 25 to 30 if he's max attack, and that would mean Ironhead probably KOs Sylveon. It doesn't KO us, but we're not doing anything back. So Pert definitely comes in here. 2 Earthquakes might knock us out. So that's Rocks. Our Spinner's gone, so Rocks is kind of annoying for us. I don't really know what the purpose of Overquill is at this point, other than just to haze and be a Psychic Immunity if he's like Specs, Reuniclus, which he's not. Flip Turn is always free here. Gets us a lot of momentum. Once again, we can knock off something, get rid of an item. I don't really know what wants to come in. If anything, honestly. I don't think he really does want to switch. And he also doesn't have an Earthquake switch in at all at this point, so I think I will just click the EQ. May or may not knock him out. From 68, it's a roll if he's no bulk, and we know he has some bulk, so it's unlikely to knock him out. Does switch in the Inteleon. Earthquake does a good amount of damage to him. Unfortunately, with this Inteleon, we are just playing the SAC game. So, assuming it's Specs, Terra Water. And we don't have our Soul Vest anymore. Scald's not knocking us out. He actually has to click Hydro here. So I think another EQ is fine. Yeah, so he does... So I don't know if he's timid or modest. If he's timid, then Hydro Pump is doing 66 to 78, so that would have been had to have been a very high roll. But you know, that's how the game goes at this point. We'll bring Indeedee back in. This is our last turn of Psychic Terrain. This time, if he brings in the Treads, we are going to Terra Water or Terra Fighting Terra Blast. It will definitely knock out Indeedee from here. Or Inteleon, sorry, double I names. I guess we should have clicked this last time, but honestly, Reuniclus just came in for free, so I didn't want to. This time, hopefully, Treads comes back in. Expanding Force really not the play here because it gets super weak next turn, so it makes us pretty vulnerable. It's an unfortunate crit, but honestly, I should just anticipate getting crit every turn and play from there, because I think better players work around things like that. You mitigate luck as much as you can so that one crit doesn't make or break your game. And I know you can't always prevent that, but I think I could do a better job at not forcing myself to take hits like that. I did know Inteleon was coming in there, so I could have flip turn and then Swampert would still be at least somewhat healthy. Okay, Chi-Yu comes in. This is kind of huge. Terra Fighting, Terra Blast, 96%. Okay, that is massive for us. If he's Choice Scarf, and we are Terra Fighting, Fire Move definitely still knocks us out, but he has to be max speed Choice Scarf to outrun us. We did just lose our terrain, though. So do we think he's max speed Scarf? If he's max speed Scarf and he knocks out Ndidi here, Haluch is useless. It would no longer outspeed Inteleon. I mean, Ndidi, or I keep saying the wrong name. Sylveon should always be able to come in here. The only way it knocks us out is 2 high roll Fire Blast. Even Flamethrower after Rock Chip doesn't really matter that much. Do we think he's Scarf Chi-Yu? I don't think he's Scarf Chi-Yu. He's Scarf Chi-Yu. Well, I threw the game. I really did not anticipate the Scarf. So yeah, we threw the game. Max speed, Scarf Chi-Yu. What does that beat? Because Haluch always outruns it. I guess +1 gouging fire. Oh well. Almost ran Aqua Jet Overcool, which would have been kind of hype. We can bring Sylveon in, Hyper Voice. We don't have a way to outrun Inteleon anymore, and it probably runs through our entire team. Treads comes in. Hyper Voice does nothing. It's Citrus Treads. I will Protect once. Get a little more health back. It's Hard Press. So if we're at max health, Hard Press doesn't knock us out, but I'm just going to go into Overquill at this point. We don't have a good path to victory anymore. Do we live 1? Yeah, we live in Earthquake. Liquidation doesn't knock it out. I mean, we play for a choke, right? We play for him going into Inteleon here. Getting a layer of spikes up, going for a crunch. I think we gotta go for the crunch. Trying to get the Inteleon. It doesn't really make sense though, because we don't knock this out and we're in the same position we were earlier. We have no speed on Halucha. So I shouldn't have thrown Ndidi away. Obviously that was a mistake, but there was only one Chi-Yu set that stops Scarfed Ndidi, and that was Scarf Chi-Yu. So obviously that's a miscalculation on my part. I do think Halucha did pretty well here, but he has been saving the Diancie in the back really well. So that was probably his hard check to Halucha. Although it doesn't one-shot us, and it +2, we should two-shot it with close combat. So definitely a throw on my part. At this point, we try to kill this thing. We go for Crunch. Scald does knock out Overquill. We go into Sylveon. So yeah, that's the thing about hard calls, is I tend to make them on the absolute wrong turn. I will go for the Yawn on the Treads. There's no way, like, Scarf Chi-Yu always beats Haluch as well, so he could even let this go down here and it wouldn't matter. I think he probably wants to play for differential though, so I don't see why he wouldn't want to switch into the Iron Treads. Yeah, so Iron Treads does come in. We Yawn. We've shown Protect, so he knows we have it. But that's not going to stop me from going into Halucha. Because at this point, I'm just kind of playing for differential. Which is fine. You know, we messed up. It's still early in the season, so even if we start at 1-2, I think there's a chance for us to climb back and get to playoffs. But yeah, that play really did hurt me. I think Halucha had a pretty clear path to victory in the end game. Okay, switches Chi-Yu. So he could have Hyper Voice to KO it, and then his only way to beat us would have been the Scarf, or the Specs Inteleon. So that sucks a little bit. We'll just go for Acro. It doesn't really matter what I do here. I will close combat. I mean, if he hits another Fire Blast, that's bad. If he misses Fire Blast, goes Inteleon. Oh, Lava Plume, okay. So we do bring differential down a little at least. We show that we're not White Herb, sadly. Inteleon comes in. Go for an Acro. Unfortunately, we do die to rocks. Oh, flip turn, okay. So yeah, Terra Water, I did kind of anticipate it. I was hoping it would be his lead, um, but what can you do? I actually don't really know. I will yawn. We do live the hard press. So now he's either forced to go to sleep on his treads and lose, or go into Inteleon and give us more differential. So I will go for the Hyper Voice, trying to catch Inteleon, but he does go into DNC. We don't two-shot it with this. We will Wish. He's Power Gem, doesn't KO us. So we do heal back up. So Sylveon is giving us a fighting chance. It's not a very good one, but it is giving us a chance. We do have to protect here, even if Treads is the obvious switch in. And we get leftovers back. There's no reason not to protect again. This is just a war of attrition at this point that we really can't win, but it's not going to stop me from trying. He knocks off our leftovers, which is annoying. I don't really know the interaction of Hard Press, so it could KO us at any point, and that's fine. I will go for a Wish here. DNC comes back in. It can't KO us, I would imagine, so we'll just Hyper Voice. It looks like a two-shot. It's a fast DNC. Like, our Sylveon is, like, not very speedy. Oh, it's no speed, so he's probably running just enough for no speed. I will proc another Wish here. Endeavor, okay, that's a cool set. I have to protect, so I think I'm stuck in an eternal, like, Wish Protect. Because he's Custap Endeavor. Oh, that's smart. I really like that bring, because it's clear body. Oh, for some reason I thought DNC got sturdy. That's my bad. Yeah, so now we're in a kind of checkmate endgame where he'll always be able to Endeavor me. Actually, Endeavor only has 8 PP. So we could go for Yawn into Wish. We'll just go for another Wish. If we were faster than this, we would be in way better shape. Obviously, just clicks Power Gem again here. Yeah, so can we stall out the Endeavors? Yeah, technically. So, at any of these protects, he could pivot back out. Yeah, this is just, I'm sorry that I have to play this game, but this is just kind of what it's come to. I'm playing for differential. I could Hyper Voice it, though, to knock it out, but that's a guaranteed loss. I could Yawn, and that forces him into a 50-50. Yeah, we'll do that. So he Endeavors, we Yawn. I can either protect or Wish here. So it's a true 50-50. He either switches Tread or lets this sleep. I don't think he lets this sleep, so I'm going to go for the Wish. I'm going to hope he switches out. Oh, Misty Explodes, which was the ultimate endgame. That's huge. Yeah, so unfortunately we let our terrain setter go down. I did call it that if he Scarf and knocks out Indeedee, that we do kind of just lose. But if we look at Chi-Yu on the calc, it couldn't have been, I mean, it could have been modest. If we were Terra fighting, then Fire Blast always KO'd us after Rock's chip. If he was timid, I mean, even if it doesn't matter, because even if the Fire Blast didn't KO us, we couldn't have set terrain. But yeah, so that's week 3. Again, we did bring it down pretty low, which is fine. I guess we could have kept Wish protecting there. He would have run out of Endeavors, and he would have been forced to Misty Explode. Maybe we could have won from there, but I don't know. I don't know if it was worth it. Anyway, that's week 3. We'll be back next week. Hopefully not with another loss, but we'll see what happens.